right, welcome back. It is still Afro Sport Now in Focus. We still got in-house analyst Ibikunle Salako on the line. The Premier League title race may be between Arsenal and Liverpool, or Liverpool basically are 11 points clear. They probably are going to win the title, but the race for the Champions League spot looks to be hotting up. At the end of the day, we might still have 5 teams get into the Champions League next season, but the current top 3 are Liverpool, Arsenal and Forest, who look like they might be doing just enough to finish inside the top 4. Fourth spot, though, is being contested by 3 teams. Newcastle United are currently level with Chelsea and Manchester City, who are just outside of that position. There's a lot to talk about as far as these 3 teams are concerned. Newcastle do have a game in hand. And equally, even if we do have a 5th team that joins the rest of the English contingent in the Champions League next season, one of Newcastle, Chelsea or City will not be playing in Europe next year.
We could even go as far as 7th position as Aston Villa. But Aston Villa are 51 points, just a point behind 6th place Manchester City, and 2 points behind Chelsea and Newcastle. So the race for the 4th position is poised. Chelsea at a point felt like they had done enough. Then they started, getting all of those draws and losses. Then Newcastle are on the run of 4 wins in their last 5 matches. So Manchester City have not covered themselves in glory this season. We know their ups and downs this season. So they've given other teams a chance to nick them. But I think Newcastle, if I were to choose which team will probably finish in that 4th position, I think it's going to be Newcastle, because they are sort of like on the upward motion at the moment. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. They are level on point with Chelsea, 53, and they have a game in hand against Crystal Palace. So they're very, very poised. But like you said, Premier League could still get 1 more spot. All that is needed is for either Arsenal or Aston Villa, who are still in the Champions League, to win just 1 game. They don't need to qualify, or they need just 1 win. If either of Aston Villa or Arsenal get a win, then Premier League gets an extra spot. So it's very, very interesting in the run into the league, seeing which of these teams will get that 4th spot.
All right, let's just look at the fixture list for Chelsea, Newcastle United and Manchester City as far as the running is concerned. And let's start with the first one that we've got. Because a couple of games that really still jump out to you in terms of the fixture list that we are going to see. Newcastle still play Manchester United at home. They have Chelsea at home, and they have Arsenal also at home in the last few games of the season. And if you move that on, and let's look at the other teams in this Champions League running. Chelsea also have some really difficult games. I think Chelsea probably have the hardest running. They go away to Fulham, they're home to Everton, they're home to Liverpool, away at Newcastle, they play United at Stamford Bridge, and they finish the season at home against Nottingham Forest, and that's going to be very, very difficult. And finally, Manchester City's last few games, they seem to have the easier running. They don't play Crystal Palace twice, by the way. They have Aston Villa at home, Wolves at home, away at Southampton, home to Bournemouth, and away at Fulham on the closing day. Those are they're not easy fixtures, but you have to feel for Chelsea. They look like the ones who maybe have the tougher running amongst the 3.
Yeah. Just looking at the fixtures, Chelsea they are in for a lot, because they're going to play Ipswich Town this Sunday, and we might think, Ipswich are maybe underdogs or whatever, but that's going to be a very tough one, because let's not forget that Ipswich's relegation hasn't been confirmed yet, so they still have a bit of hope, a bit of something to fight for, basically, to remain in the Premier League. They're heading to the Craven Cottage in a London derby against Fulham. That's going to be difficult. They're going to host Everton, another very difficult game. They're going to play a Liverpool side that wants to, win and get confirmed as champions quickly. They're going to battle Newcastle, who is directly below them. They're still going to invite Manchester United to the Stamford Bridge. Then, like you said, that crazy game that they will be having against Nottingham Forest on the last day. So Chelsea seems like they still have a lot to play for, because you look at their recent form, they've not been scoring goals. Kopama has been out of form because Jackson is just coming back. Madueke also is just returning from injury. So they look a bit shaky. Manchester City, on the other hand, their fixtures look I don't want to say easy, going by how Manchester City has played this season. but it's a bit less difficult than Chelsea and Newcastle. I think the one that catches the eye for Manchester City is the Aston Villa fixture at home and the last day of the season against Fulham. And I think they're going to play Bournemouth too. But Newcastle, on the other hand, let's not forget, Newcastle still has that game in hand against Crystal Palace. They're going to play Manchester United this weekend at home. There's still that game against Aston Villa. Like I said, Aston Villa are not out of it yet. They're 51 points, just 2 points behind Chelsea in fourth. So they're also going to play Aston Villa. They're going to play Chelsea and they're going to play Arsenal. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting one in the next few weeks, seeing these teams change positions. That's something I really like in the Premier League, especially on the last day when this person scores and the positions keep shifting. But hopefully, one of Arsenal or Aston Villa gets a win in the Champions League and opens that fifth spot for another Premier League team.
All right, Mikule, so if one team joins the rest of the top three, what do you think it will be?
So are you saying it's going to be just 4 teams from Premier League?
Yeah, who's the one you think will join the current top three?
I think Newcastle. Like I said, they are on the upward motion at the moment. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. Their players look to be in great form at the moment. And so, yeah, I think Newcastle probably has what it takes to get that first position.
All right, then thank you very, very much for talking to us, Ibikunle Salako, our in-house analyst here at Afro Sports. And that is the much we can take on the show for today. It's been Afro Sport Now in Focus. My name is Tolu Shotade. Thank you very, very much for watching. We'll see you next time.